President Muhammadu Buhari has restated the federal government's commitment towards the attainment of inclusive development in the country through infrastructure development financing. Speaking at the closing ceremony of the 25th annual meeting of the Africa Export and Import Bank in Abuja, President Buhari listed key reforms in the agricultural, mining and economic sectors, which he says have yielded positive results. He says he's optimistic that the structural reforms will attract investments in the sectors and help the nation move away from over-dependence on petroleum resources.
A very important point, and that's
For the past 3 days, heads of government, captains of industries and business experts have been deliberating on innovative ways to facilitate trade, create jobs and attract investment into the African continent.
What is the key problem?
At various sessions, different speakers gave insight on how this can be achieved.
$150 million.
As part of the activities to wrap up the event, President Muhammadu Buhari gives his support for the activities of the Africa Export and Import Bank as he delivers an address to close the meetings.
We are a vast nation.
He tells the gathering how his administration is making efforts to drive inclusive growth and reduce over-dependence on oil resources.
Our government has adopted a policy of inclusive economic growth. We are determined to attain this by reducing our over-reliance on crude oil. To date, we have invested aggressively in infrastructure to support our growth potential in agriculture and solid minerals. We are also empowering many Nigerian entrepreneurs in the entertainment and digital economies, to mention a few.
But how can Nigeria and the 49 other African countries who are members of the Africa Export and Import Bank benefit from the policies, funding and technical expertise of the organization to boost its trade volumes?
The African Export Import Bank.
The president of the Exim Bank highlights interventions to help achieve this.
As part of the comprehensive solution to the constraints to Africa's industrialization, your board also approved a special revolving fund to be used in implementing a project preparation facility by the bank. The facility will support project development in areas that will promote the expansion of Africa's value-added exports. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our approach to industrialization and export manufacturing is to focus on labor-intensive light manufacturing. This approach is hinged on the premise that Africa's comparative advantage is derived from its abundant and cheap labor.
A major high point of the event is the signing of a $750 million loan facility by the Bank of Industry. This is expected to provide financial support for owners of small and medium businesses in the country.
Now, the transaction is structured as a 7-year term loan. And gentlemen, congratulations.
As participants depart this hall to their various destinations, it is expected that the resolutions reached here will improve intra-African trade and socio-economic development.
Meanwhile, the president will tomorrow depart for the Netherlands to participate in the activities to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the adoption of the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, ICC, at The Hague. A statement from the presidency explains that President Muhammadu Buhari is the only world leader invited to deliver a keynote address during the solemn hearing to commemorate the activities and anniversary at the Courtroom 1 of the ICC's headquarters at The Hague. President Buhari is expected to use the global platform to reaffirm Nigeria's support to the fundamental values of the Rome Statute and to the ideals of the ICC, as well as highlight his administration's campaign against corruption in Nigeria. Other activities lined up for the president during the visit include a bilateral meeting with the ICC prosecutor, Ms. Fatal Bensouda, a dinner hosted by Nigerian-born president of the ICC, Chileboe Osuji. He will later meet with the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, as well as Dutch business leaders. Some indigents of Ebonyi State under the umbrella of the Abakaliki bloc today held a rally in Abakaliki, the state capital, in support of the construction of the 198-kilometer ring road by the state governor. The road, when completed, is expected to link 8 local government areas of the state, and the group is insisting that they will do everything possible to stop the critics of the state government from frustrating the construction.
Council, His Excellency.
It's a gathering that brings together Ebonyi indigents from 8 local government areas of the state to Abakaliki, the state capital.
We thank His Excellency, our dear governor.
They're united in one voice without any political affiliation or leaning, and their mission is to support the plan by the state government to embark on the 198-kilometer ring road project. One after the other, they bear their minds on the need for the road project to begin immediately, but they are concerned about the perceived propaganda allegedly from some groups opposed to the project.
We are satisfied with the genuine effort of our dear Governor, Engineer Chief David Nwezumahi, the Governor of Ebonyi State. We disassociate ourselves from the opposition elements, from Umekumehi, who are against the construction of the state road, and disassociate ourselves from the misguided remarks.
Others believe that the construction of the road, which links about 8 local government areas of the state, will help boost its rural economy and the ease of doing business.
We ask everybody to rise and support this project so that our rural dwellers can feel the impact of government and then utilize the import of agriculture that we are promoting. We thank all the people that have converged here. We ask them to duly support this project.
The Deputy Governor of the state, who is also from the Abakaliki bloc, promised to ensure that suggestions made here are communicated to the governor and taken to the national level.
On behalf of our governor, I'm assuring you that everything you have articulated and delivered here through your speaker, the Speaker of the Ebonyi State House of Assembly, shall be carefully moved to Abuja, both to the bank, to federal government, and to the National Assembly.
The ring road project is expected to gulp about $150 million, all sourced from international organizations with the approval of the federal government. Organizers of the rally say it's a new dawn for Abakaliki and Ebonyi State as a whole.
If a leadership is not motivating and impactful, it has failed. These words captures the consensus at the Lagos Leadership Conference organized by Region 11 of the Redeemed Christian Church of God. The speakers emphasized the need for leaders to go beyond their tags of leadership while carrying the younger generation in their successor plans. Our correspondent Loretta Chogo reports.
This is the 13th edition of the Lagos Leadership Conference, and the church auditorium is filled with both the young and old. The focus this time is leading to succeed. Speaker after speaker dissected the theme, emphasizing its importance to human advancement.
How have you been able to add value to the life of people? If you are able to touch them, if you are able to impact their lives, if you are able to help them articulate a clear vision for their lives, then you are a leader.
The spirit of deception is in full swing. The competition for the hearts of the young people is very high. Resources and time, different things have been invested to distract the next generation. And that should encourage us to want to pay a little more attention. It's important also for us to know that there's no real success without successors. So if we're not going to take the next generation seriously, it means that we have tacitly made a decision to jeopardize our legacy.
Every time you lose time, you have lost time forever. Because time never comes back in time. Ability to do a thing to the highest level possible in the appropriate time. Everyone wants to succeed because success is a good thing.
Pastor Charles Bande is the convener of the event. He believes that leadership goes beyond the tag of office.
It's not just about activity. The theme for this year is leading to succeed. We are believing that we want to be able to create a mindset in our people, all cadre of leadership, about the need to really lead to succeed. It's time for us to look forward, to make sure we have a leadership that is knowledgeable, a leadership that is progressive, a leadership that can think into the realities of the tomorrow.
Going beyond the powers attached to leadership to achieving set goals with accurate timing is the consensus of opinions here. And it is considered a necessity for success in leadership. Loretta Chiogo, Channels Television News.
Let's shift our gears now, shall we, to business news with Ann Waudo.
Thanks a lot, Gimba. The absence of factoring laws in Nigeria may soon be confined to history as lawmakers align with industry players and regulators to ease risks associated with invoicing by small and medium enterprises. At the Nigerian Factoring Roundtable in Abuja, the managing director of the Nigerian Export-Import Bank, Abba Bello, insists that it is very important for Nigeria to formalize the sector and provide safe and secure means of financing trade.
This is the Africa Export-Import Bank meeting in Abuja, where industry players champion improved trade relations between African countries. In order to ensure the introduction of factoring laws, Exim is working with the Nigeria Export-Import Bank to see that financial inclusion strategies are taken to another level through receivable purchase known as factoring.
As an export credit agency and trade facilitating institution, the Nigeria Export-Import Bank is concerned about the high level of informal trade. I think that has been discussed elaborately here in Africa.
Factoring is an industry worth more than 1 trillion euros, and Africa accounts for less than 1% of that amount. Available data, however, shows that 5 African countries are responsible for that figure, and Nigeria is not one of them.
Collaborative efforts that started over 3 years ago between Exim and some key players in the public-private sector under the auspices of the Financial System Strategy 2020 of the Central Bank of Nigeria, who saw the need to develop an alternative trade financing instrument to promote financial inclusion, boost access to funding by SMEs, and I'll add MSMEs also.
The global factoring volume is 2.6 trillion. Africa accounts for less than 1%, and the total factoring volume is just about 21.7 billion euros.
Exim is the official export-import trade finance agency that is working with Exim to ensure new laws will be passed before the end of this year so that Nigerian investors can effectively benefit from this financial window.
The International Monetary Fund has asked the federal government to put up a coherent set of policies to help reduce vulnerabilities and increase growth. This was contained in a recent article for consultation of the IMF. An International Monetary Fund staff team visited Nigeria to discuss recent economic and financial developments. The fund noted that under current policies, the outlook remains very challenging. Growth will peak up to about 2% this year, weighed down by lower than expected oil production and relatively weak agriculture growth. That ends business news for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ann Nwawadu. It's back to you, Gimba.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Germany's Angela Kerber defeats 7-time champion Serena Williams to win her first Wimbledon title after beating the American 6-3, 6-3 in the final. That's the sports news. Stay with us.